So we're going to get started. I've got a very interesting topic for tonight's talk, and I will tell you how this came about. I went to just a routine dermatologist appointment today. I got a few moles and stuff to get checked out. And so I'm kind of aware of the whole skin issue thing as I'm driving back. And I see this woman driving down the street. And as I pull up, I'm seeing her hand is out here on top of her window. You know how when you're feeling really cool and you just put your hand out like that on top of the car and you're driving this way? And I see she's got this bandage on her hand, and I recognize this because it's the same kind of bandage that I got when I was early 20s. I got a basal cell carcinoma, which you are not supposed to get when you are that young. You're supposed to get that when you're 70, 80 years old from a lifetime of sun exposure. But I must have had some bad sun karma or something. So I had on my nose this little thing. And it's basically a really safe form of skin cancer. They chop it off and you're done. But I recognize it's the same bandage. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. I wonder if that lady just got a basal cell carcinoma lopped off of her hand, because she's got her hand out the window. And I'm thinking, I pull up and I see, she's got one of those big sun hats on that cover your whole face, so she's got sensitive fair complexion, and you know that she's been told, you better stay out of the sun, watch out. And yet here she is with her hand out the window, and you know that she has been doing this with her hand out the window for years, and she got that on her hand, and the doctor was like, oh, we got to cut that off. You should keep that out of the sun. And then she's driving back from the office with her hand is right there on the window. And it got me thinking, I don't do that anymore. I put on sunscreen every day. When I go outside, I'm in the shade, trying to be careful. Yet, I don't do that with everything in my life, and I know that most of us have many things that we know we're not supposed to do, but we do them anyways. In fact, we know a lot about this thing that's either a habit that we want to kick or is a new habit that we want to get. And the fact that we know all about it, surprise, surprise, does not actually make it happen for us. The most common example that you hear is, I want to lose weight. Is there anybody who doesn't know how to lose weight? No, you're already, you're here, you're doing it. So, it's two things. It's eat right and exercise. It's pretty simple. Yet, there are more obese people in this country than there have ever been. And I promise you, not a single one of them could you walk up to, explain how to lose weight, and they'll go, what? Are you serious? I got it. And then you come back a few months later and they drop 20 pounds. No. They know. And if you think about it, there are many things in your life that are like this, where it's here's the thing that I want to change. And I've heard about it. I may have read about it. I watched a documentary about it. And I got all this stuff in my head, and I'm thinking to myself, someday I'm going to do that. I really know that I should be doing that, and I'm all about it. I really want to, and it's going to happen for sure. The issue is that knowing something, having the information, does not translate directly into action. And the reason for that is it's a different state of mind. It's a different attitude. The attitudes of learning about and knowing something, and the attitude of taking action on that thing. So a few examples I just popped down on this piece of paper. For me, you guys who are on Kung Fu Retreat, you know all about this. One of my habits that I was working on was my posture. So when I actually am teaching class, and especially in Tai Chi, my posture is really nice. It's great. Massive improvement over years ago. But as soon as I sit down in the chair, I sit, and sometimes I'll think right away, I'm going to sit with great posture. Wonderful. And then a few minutes later, I'm just sliding right down the chair, and I'm just hunched forward. My shoulders are like this. And then a few minutes go by, and then I think, I'm working on my posture. So I sit up straight and get everything just right. And then I'm sliding back down. And for me, it has really been years until I got to this point where I'm at now, where it's like I'm actually consistently taking action to fix my sitting posture. Now, when I sit to meditate, my posture is perfect. When I'm moving around and doing my thing in the dojo, my posture is perfect. It's just when I sit in a chair, especially when I'm watching something on some kind of a screen, that things just have a real tendency to slump and slouch. And so what I did is I took this understanding of I want better posture, and I know what that looks like, and I know that I haven't been doing it, so here are the things that I need to change. And I went from just knowing that stuff to actually, like, I took out a card, and I wrote down on it, no slouching, or I think I wrote down good posture because I try to keep it positive. And so that every time I catch myself slouching, I put a check mark on it, and every time I fix my posture, I cross that off. And so I've got this little tally, and I keep it right here in the dojo, actually. And I'm constantly checking it. And my posture is improving. It's not there yet, but I'm in action on it. And that's the kind of attitude change that I'm talking about, when you take it from knowing to action. And I'll tell you, it's not complicated. You want to know the difference, or you want to know how you can tell that you've made that change in attitude? It's that you're no longer talking about it and thinking about it. You're doing it. So in that moment, when I fix my posture, that's it. That's the adjustment in attitude, and it's adjustment in just the way that I am being in that moment. And that is being in action, and that's the fix. That's the change. And it's not going to happen immediately, but in that moment, it happens immediately, and then I might lose it, and then again, I get a chance to get right back to it. And it's really simple. Whatever the thing is that you're trying to change, whatever the habit is, if you spend a lot of time thinking about it and learning about it, that's all you're getting. If you just start doing it, if you just get in action, that action itself is going to change your attitude towards it. That is going to make you feel like, yeah, I'm doing this. And then you might slide on it, and then you get right back in action. If you slide on it and you start thinking to yourself, oh no, I'm back to the way that I used to be, woe is me, I'm never going to get this. All that thought about not doing what you want to do doesn't help. What helps? Going back and getting in action. That's it. Simple. Other examples that I've noticed. Oh, money. So some of you might have had this experience where you've decided, I want more money. And it's not like my whole life is about money and I'm this materialistic person and I'm just going to like cutthroat, get my way to the top and do whatever I have to do. But I mean, like, it's just nice to have a little more money. You can feed yourself, pay the rent, and do all the stuff that you want to do, go on vacations. So what do you have to do to get more money? Anybody? What do you do to get more money? Okay, work more in order to get more money, get more income. What's the other thing that you have to do? Save money. Make more, save it, you got money. That's it. Now, I think there's not a single one of us on the floor who at some point, if not now, has not had this issue like, I would really just love it if I had more money. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. Or actually, I know what I should do about it, but I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to wait until like somehow somebody sends me a check in the mail. Or I'm going to win the lottery. Or someone's going to die soon and give me money. I know that it's going to happen. You guys ever do that? That's a sick thing. You think like, I really love my grandma, but man, no, I'm kidding. So, you know that what you have to do is make more and save it. And so we get into this place of like, well, this is just the way that I have been with money for my whole life. I make what I make and then I spend it. And then I get more and then I spend that too. And then there is just a simple action of like, I did this. My parents actually forced me to do this. Is my mom. My mom is like the most fiscally responsible person that you will ever meet. And I think I was 12 years old. She set me up with an IRA. And for like well over a decade, I've been putting in just $150 every single month. And I don't do it because I wouldn't do that. I have it set up automatically, so the bank just takes it out. And sometimes the money's gone, and I'm thinking, where'd that money go? Oh yeah, that's right, it's in my savings account. I can't touch that. The mom made me do that fund. But guess what? I actually have money in that account. I don't always have money in the other accounts, but I always have money in that account. And it's just the action of, what am I going to do? I'm just going to save that money. Then you make it automatic. So you guys kind of get the idea here. I could name probably 100 different things, and that's the last one that I have right now. But it's simple. This is not complex. This is not rocket science. It's like you know what you're supposed to do. The difference is if you actually do it, if you actually get in action about it. It's that attitude change of like right now I'm just going to be totally different about this, about exercising more. Instead of dreading it, I'm just going to feel like it's what I'm going to do. I exercise. It's just what I do. And I get to class and I actually enjoy it. You guys ever been driving down the street on your way to the dojo and thinking to yourself, oh, I'm a little bit more tired than I thought I was going to be right now. I could just keep driving straight and just go straight home. You guys ever get that thought? Some of you guys don't drive, obviously, or you'd be raising your hand too. But you all get this thought where you actually know when you get to class that you are going to love it. Because if you didn't love it, you wouldn't still be here. But that doesn't stop you from having the thought of, oh, I'm so tired, let me just keep going. But if you get into action and you actually start throwing punches and kicks or doing Tai Chi or even just meditating, it's like in that moment, all of a sudden, it's like magic. All that stuff has just melted away, and your way of experiencing that is completely transformed, not recognizable. And I was talking to somebody earlier about this idea, and she said, yeah, it's what makes us human. The fact that you know that you're supposed to do this stuff and you choose quite often not to do that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's right. We're not robots. We're human beings. If we were robots, you would input this stuff into it and say, this is the programming, these are your instructions, you do that stuff, and the robot has no choice. The robot does it. Well, we have this wonderful thing called free will. And whether you believe in free will on the bigger philosophical scale or not, just understand that you have the experience of I can choose to do this or not. And that is very often a blessing, and that is very often the worst possible thing for us. Because if we could just take what we know we're supposed to do and we know we want to do and then just do it, make it automatic, man, wouldn't we just be, we'd be rich, we'd be in the best shape of anybody's life ever, and we'd just be happy all the time. But the issue is we have this ability to choose. So, in the moment, when you are brought up to this point of, Yogi Berra just died on Tuesday, and he has this great quote. I love it. It's not the one that I posted online. It's this other one. He said, when you get to the fork in the road, when you get to a fork in the road, take it. Take what? Like, what does that mean? But I like it because it's like you get there, don't just sit there and hem and haw and like, what am I going to do? Or some of us get there and we're like, well, I don't know, I'm just going to turn around and go back. But you get to this point, this decision point. And this is one of the things that martial arts teaches us is decisiveness. And I'll tell you right now, the more you start to think about that thing that you know that you should be doing, the more you're going to talk yourself right out of it. But if you get up to it and you're like, this is go home, watch TV, eat pizza, this is go to the dojo and work out, and you're like, you get to it and you're like, I know I'm supposed to work out. Stop the process right there and just go. Don't get to the fork and think, I know I'm supposed to work out, but pizza and Netflix, pretty nice. Because then as soon as you start thinking about that, it starts pulling. I mean, man, that other stuff, it's got a gravity to it, doesn't it? So when you get up to it, you get up to that fork in the road, you just take it. And you just jump on the one that you know that you're supposed to take. And it's a little bit like I'm turning myself into a machine that does what I choose to do when I choose to do the thing that is like the best for me, or I choose the way of being in that moment that's the most powerful for me. And you guys all experience this. It's like sometimes you're very powerful in the way that you choose and the way that you act, and sometimes you don't have very much power. That's the part where you do pizza and Netflix. The power is like, I know that this is drawing me to it. I don't eat pizza, by the way. I watch Netflix, but this is drawing you down, and you're like, no, this is what I'm doing. So this is also what we work on with meditation, which we're going to start in a few minutes here. Because nobody has the experience of sitting to meditate and just sits in perfect posture, doesn't have the urge to move or slouch, has no thoughts pop up into their mind, and it just has a completely easy time of sitting and meditating. It's like you sit and an hour goes by and you open your eyes and you think, that was the best thing ever. I'm pretty sure I'm enlightened right now and I love everything about meditation and what just happened. I mean, every single time you meditate, something is going to come up where you feel like, I can't sit here anymore. I got stuff to do. Or I can't sit here anymore. My arm hurts. Or my leg needs to move. Or this itch is just insane. And if Sifu only knew how bad this itch was. But as you sit and you meditate, you're going to come up to that thing that wants you to drag you into movement or to drag you into whatever the less powerful experience of that is. And you just say, no, I get up to this fork of move or not move, and I do the thing that I know I'm supposed to do. I not move. And you get this thought that creeps into your head, and it's so easy to just let that train of thought just run away with you and go. But you say, no, I'm going to stick with the breath. And no matter how many times it takes, you come back to the breath. And this is really training your mind and your will in that moment to immediately go to the thing that you know that you want to do. And it is not going to be easy, but it becomes easier with time. That's why the first couple of times you sit to meditate, 5 minutes is an eternity. And you think, I can't believe anybody does this. And then after you do that a few times, now 10 minutes I can kind of handle that. And then pretty soon, 20 minutes, a half an hour is totally okay. It's just building up that resistance to the whatever is dragging you down. So we're going to practice for about 20 minutes tonight. And when you run into that thought, you run into that urge to breathe, that urge to move or to itch, you just go back to the breath and training your mind in that moment to have a strong will and to go down that path that you really want to have the discipline to actually do the thing, to get in action and just be that way that you want to be in that moment, rather than just getting dragged back into whatever state of mind you were in before. That's really what meditation is. It's changing your state of mind right now in the instant. Not like I'm going to sit and hopefully 20 minutes from now it's better. I mean right now. You choose to focus on the breath. And that will be a fundamentally different experience for you than what you've been doing all day long. Sit.